Everyone to the Mic Check Show. On today's show, we have the one, the only Teej Johannesson.
Hey man, how you doing?
Not too bad. Just enjoying the nice weather.
Yep.
Definitely getting ready for summer.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great time of year. It's March is my least favorite month because we're so close and not out, especially as a golfer. And I've gotten into disc golf as well.
Ooh,
I live on a disc golf course. It's right out my backyard, so got into that last year and got kind of obsessed with that as well. So that's a great time. So I've been doing as much outdoor activity as I can, even with a little bit of wind. But it's been
hey,
great. I'm looking forward to May because hopefully everything will kind of be really good then.
yeah. And hopefully we don't have that one weird weekend where it like snows or it's like super cold.
It's probably coming, Mike. I'm not gonna lie.
Uh,
My wife
I,
tells me every year it's coming. It's coming May long, and I always just deny it because I like to live in optimism. But
yeah,
it probably will show up.
I'll say this. I'm glad I won't be playing in that cold anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a very fair and good point.
Yeah. Alrighty. So, Teach, this is all about you. Um, I'm pretty sure you did an episode on yourself at the beginning of the AFU.
Yeah, 2 years ago now we did kind of a brief thing, way back 40 episodes ago or something like that. 50
Yeah.
episodes. Yeah, we've done a lot by now, but yeah.
So I'll say everyone's kind of forgotten about that.
Probably, yeah.
I know how I have.
We weren't as popular then. That I think that one probably is one of our lower ratings. But once we kind of started getting going, it's the later episodes, especially once we got into doing some high school stuff, our numbers really started to blossom.
Yeah, which is great. Of course, I love the show. I
Great.
was actually watching it today, just building wheelchairs, just kind of laughing myself at certain points. People thinking, what the hell's wrong with them?
That's perfect, man. That's what we want. We want to give people entertainment while they're doing whatever, to kind of pass the time, and if we can find some laughs in there as well, I mean that's a win for us.
Yeah, which I love. So now, since it's been so long, we're gonna dive deep into your career again, maybe a little bit more in depth than what you did before.
Sure.
But yeah, so football, clearly a passion of yours.
Yeah.
Where did this passion start?
Yeah. I grew up in BC. I grew up in a place called North Delta, BC, and
Never heard of
it's
it.
yeah. It's have you heard of Surrey, BC?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I was born in Surrey, and then North Delta's just across the road. So you can
Okay.
literally you can cross a street and be in Surrey, and then 2 seconds later you're in North Delta. So I grew up in North Delta, and my uncle James Ellingson played for in the CFL
Okay.
in the mid '80s. So before I was born, and then he retired in 1995. So when I was 7, so I got to watch him play, all the way up until I was 7 when he retired. He won a Grey Cup with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in 1989 in one of the greatest Grey Cup games in the history of the CFL, the 1989 Grey Cup, Saskatchewan Roughriders versus Hamilton Tiger Cats. He was a slot back, played backup that year to Ray Elgard, who's a Hall of Fame type player, and my uncle caught 5 passes in that Grey Cup game. So I grew up watching him play in the CFL and watching my uncle on TV. He ended up getting traded from the Saskatchewan Roughriders to the Ottawa Roughriders. And a lot of people forget,
Yeah.
but there was 2 Rough Rider teams in the CFL at the same time.
Yeah, I remember that.
The Ottawa Roughriders and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I think the Ottawa was called the Ottawa Rough Riders, and the Saskatchewan was called the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So there was like a space in between the Ottawa one. But the greatest logo, Mike, and if anyone is listening, Google this. Google like 1995 Ottawa Rough Riders helmet logo. Greatest logo in football history. My absolute favorite logo.
I'll have to do that.
Yeah, 1995 Ottawa Rough Riders. They also had the old R way back in the 60s, 70s, which was cool, but they had just this
Yep.
unbelievable logo on their helmets in great colors. So anyone that knows me knows I'm kind of obsessive about uniforms and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like
of
that.
course.
So yeah, great. So I grew up watching the CFL, and I wanted to play football as soon as I could. And in BC at the time, that would have been at 8 years old. And what happened is at 8 years old, my dad was a big soccer player. So my dad never played football; he played soccer. So at 8 years old, as soon as I could play football, I started to play for the Surrey Lions. So Delta didn't have a team at that age, so we went to Surrey and played on the Surrey Lions. And that's what started my career. And then I've played every single year. So I was 8 years old then. I'm 37 today. So we're talking 29 straight years of football outside of the COVID year. So this will be my 29th season coming up here for the Airdrie Irish. So it's all I've ever known, Mike. Honestly, like that COVID year was really tough for me because it was the first year of my life I didn't play football. My journey went from playing Atom to Pee Wee to Bantam. To high school in Red Deer for my grade 10 year at Hunting Hills. And then I moved grade 10 and 11 year at Hunting Hills. And then for my grade 12 year, I actually moved back to BC, played at a school called SANS, SANDS, SANS Secondary in North Delta. We were called the SANS Scorpions, really good football team. They didn't have a team before that. They were bringing the team back. And so they reached out to me in Alberta and brought me out illegally, essentially recruited. We basically recruited that whole team.
Wow.
And then the next year they got suspended and had a bunch of punishments. But that was a lot of fun.
Can't blame for trying.
Yeah, well, and the cool thing is that in BC, high school football is played American rules. So American size field, 11 on 11, it's American rules. And the BC also has a community program, it's like midget, bantam, pee-wee, that plays Canadian rules. So I grew up playing Canadian rules, and then when I got to high school, I got to play American rules. And you could play, these seasons ran congruently. So I was playing two teams at once. I was playing for my midget team, the North Delta Longhorns, and I was playing for my high school team, the Sand Scorpions, at the same time. So I would go to practice after school and from 4 to 6 for the Sands and play American. And then every Tuesday and Thursday, I would head after that practice 6 to 8, and I'd go play for Canadian football with my community team. So I got to do a bit of both, which was great. Ended up going to junior, played for the Edmonton Huskies for a year. Didn't have a great time. The coaching staff was pretty terrible. Got asked for my release, got released, played for the Edmonton Wildcats. 2009, we went to a national championship, lost to Andrew Harris and the Vancouver Island Raiders. And then 2010, I joined the Bucks, came back to Red Deer with my wife after being in Edmonton for a couple of years, playing junior, and joined the Bucks in 2010. And now I'm entering my 15th AFL season.
Damn, that's quite the journey. Safe to say, football is definitely in your blood.
Yeah, literally.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
As soon as you came out, it's like, yep, it's already there. There's the passion.
Yeah, immediately. Oh, well, when you're watching your uncle on TV, like how do you not get invested in that? And I remember being at like a Walmart or something when I was like 6 years old, and my other uncle, Uncle Glenn, who is the brother of the CFL player, he was also a great football player too. Was actually a provincial level flag quarterback throughout his life. And he at a Walmart one day took a football and said, "Hey, think fast," and chucked it at me as hard as he could. And I just stuck my hands up and caught it pure. Had no idea what I was doing, caught it pure. And he's like, "Damn, you need to be playing football." So when you're 7 years old and you get that kind of compliment because you do something cool for adults, you're like, "Damn, I got to get into this." And then I did. I was good at it, and it's football's been an absolute blessing in my life.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially for me. But of course, I'm not going to dive too deep into that because that's for another time. But your Bucks career. So whenever I think of the Red Deer Bucks or Central Alberta Buccaneers, I think Teej was kind of like the face of the franchise.
Sure, yeah.
Ever since I joined the league back in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us how the Bucks were from the start of your AFL career till we'll say now?
Yeah. So, well, there's definitely been a dramatic change from, the whole time's been a bit of a roller coaster as men's league can be. I mean, first and foremost, the Bucks are a storied franchise in the AFL. Like, you have to understand, and maybe a lot of people listening don't know, but the Bucks came out 2002 and are still around today in 2025. I can't tell you how rare that is in this league.
Yeah,
Like
it's like two
outside of the
teams.
Calgary Wolfpack, there's nobody else in the history of this league that has been as strong and as vibrant as the Red Deer Buccaneers have been now, Central Alberta Buccaneers. So, an absolute storied franchise that has weathered a lot of adversity to stay in the league. Like, and I'm telling you, a lot of adversity to stay in the league. Like, the team almost folded after my rookie year in 2010 because of some financial issues and stuff they were having, and a group of people stepped up and put up their own money to basically buy the team from the old owner and save the team, which gave, it's when I think back on that now, I'm so appreciative to those guys, Kyle Lipdeck, Kenton Polzer, Corey Pusey. I'm definitely missing a couple there who stepped up and spent their own money to save that team, because had they have not done that, the Bucks would have been wiped out after 2010. And all those literally probably thousands of players since then, or players since then that have suited up for the Bucks would have never had a place to play. The memories that I have would have never existed. So I'm really grateful and thankful to those people for stepping up then. It is quite a feat to be able to do what the Bucks have done through the time to stay in the league and to stay relevant and at the same time stay competitive. Like, it's not incredibly easy to be competitive out here. We don't have a million people in our city. We've never really had truly like long-term dedicated coaches. We had Devin Hand there for a while, who was probably the most committed guy as far as men's football that I've ever seen. But we've just somehow, I say we because I've been there for so long, so I'll continue to say we as we talk about this. But we've continued to just, I think, defy the odds a little bit. And so 2010, I came in and it was more of a beer league situation. I think the league in general at that time was more of a beer league situation. And I came in as a guy coming off a junior career as a receiver that, was one of the top receivers stats wise, putting up the numbers on in my 2 years in junior. And I came in, wanting to play receiver, and they basically told me, we don't go by merit here. It's essentially the guys that have been here start and play. So I don't care how good you are. We've got 15 receivers. We're not going to put you on the field. That's just not how we do things here on the Bucs.
Yeah. So back of the line.
Well, back of the line. And so what happened is I said, well, fuck that. I need to play. So if that's going to be your situation, how many DBs do you got? And they said, well, not very many. And I said, okay, so if you don't have many, like, does that mean it's a competition? And they said, well, yeah, or you might just be able to get in there because we don't have a lot of them. So I said, well, sign me up for DB. Now, I'd played a little bit of DB in my career, like in high school, Bantam, kind of played both ways a little bit, but never, I was always like 90% offensive guy. Like I said, my uncle played slot back. All the coaching I got was on the offensive side of the ball. If I played defense, it was just, I went out there, played some safety, never actually played corner, either played safety or a little bit of halfback, but didn't have a ton of experience with it. So they actually needed a corner, and I was like, all right, well, I'll do it. And I have a lot of confidence in myself, and I also work hard, and I know that I can get good at things that I care about. So I was like, well, let's do it. And in that year, while I had basically zero technique, like Ryan Belrose that year, just picked me apart on this old forum we used to have before the Facebook stuff. It was like you had to go to a website, and it was this AFL forum. And he just would just rip me apart because I was so athletically skilled, and I was getting away with terrible technique. Like I think I was second in the league in picks that year, just basically being athletic. Yep. But I was also getting beat, on simple stuff because my technique was poor, and I had really no idea what I was doing, nor did I have the coaching. And I think what Ryan, when I look, and I tell him this now, I think what he saw back then is he saw the potential that I had as a DB. Yep. And his way of kind of motivating me was to basically shit talk me the whole year and basically say that I'm terrible and that I'm lucky that I'm athletic, or I'm easy to expose, stuff like that. And then at the end of that year, we were at our awards banquet, and our defensive coordinator at the time was basically like, no, you're definitely going back to offense next year. Like, you're just basically too. Yes, you got us 5 picks on the year, but you're too risky. Like you just don't know what you're doing out there. And I said, coach, I'm coming back and I'm playing defense. And I was pissed off. Like, I was like, I know I can do this. I'm going to figure this out. I worked my ass off. I watched as much as I could. I studied that year. I learned the technique. YouTube was in its infancy then, so you could barely find anything. But I watched film. I watched guys that I knew were good corners in the league. I saw what they were doing, and I copied it. And then from then on, since 2011, I've had 0 touchdown passes against me when I've been in coverage. I set the all-time interception record in 2016 with 32. I've got 50 now, which that record will just never be broken. No, it'll never be broken. Teams stopped throwing to me in like 2017. So like I was averaging 8 picks a year from 2012 to 2017. And then I basically got 2 or 3 a year after that. I just stopped getting stuff. So that was kind of my, well, that's exactly it. Right. And I think that's the benefit of having a really good strong side corner is I can take away an entire half of the field, and you provide a little fear and second guessing from the quarterback, because I got pretty good at understanding how to bait people and how to make quarterbacks think people were open and then jump it. So yeah, that was my Bucks journey. As far as the team itself, like we went up and up and up, and it culminated in that 2021 championship victory. You know, we lost a close one in 2016 against Fort Mac in a game that we really should have won. We lost in 2018 to Fort Mac in the finals because Brandon Lay got hurt in the semifinals, and we were winning that game when he got hurt too. In the final game of the regular season against Fort Mac, Brandon got hurt and we were winning that game. We ended up losing 60-0 in the final because we lost Brandon. 2019, we lost to the Wolfpack in a heartbreaker. I scored what I thought was the winning touchdown with a minute left in the game against the Wolfpack, and then Darrell Leeson came out and marched the field in 58 seconds and scored a touchdown to win, which Darrell will do that to you. 2021, we finally got over the top. You know, had just an unbelievable year. Like I was playing with just like super studs across the board and was playing both ways. At that time, I started playing both ways in 2018, and ever since 2018, I've just been both receiver and DB. So that 2021
Did they have a nickname on that year?
Pardon? Oh, the Spice Rack.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so you talked to Xavier about that, eh? Did you?
Actually, no, I didn't.
No, yeah. So I
kind of forgot about it until now.
That was 2016. That was the year the Fort Mac fires happened, and freaking TSN was following around the Monarchs and, you know, was there when they beat us. We hosted that championship game, and unfortunately we lost on the last kind of minute pick six. One of our receivers ran a lazy slant route, and Brandon threw a pick. Not Brandon's fault. It was unfortunately our receiver ran kind of a sloppy slant route. But the Spice Rack, that was a hell of a receiving crew. I was just playing defense that year. It was the next year that I went full time both ways, but that was the Spice Rack. That was they got t-shirts made and everything. So anyways, that was the kind of the climax there for the Bucks. And then after 2021, it's been difficult, man. Like honestly, it's been difficult to find coaches. We had so many like key members. Like you have to understand, that 2021 year was my 11th year, and a lot of the main guys that I played with from 2010 to 2011 along the way, once we got there, they were gone. Like once we won, they left. And I still had the passion to keep going. But, you know, I told them, like, I want to come back there next year. I want to finish my career with the Bucks. They mean absolutely everything to me. They've given me so much, the memories I have, the friendships I have. I bleed Bucks, right? But I told them without coaches, I wasn't going to go back this year because I don't want to be a player coach. I just want to play, and the Irish are offering me that. So I wish them the best this year, and I hope the Bucks continue to rise. I hope I can be back next year and take them back to that top again.
Yeah, that should be an interesting game. Is Airdrie going to Red Deer this year?
Yeah, so...
Well, that'd be an interesting one.
Yeah, they are. So that's like a home game for me. I've done it before, like when I went to after the 2021 season and everybody left. I left as well, but I wanted to keep playing. I wasn't sure if the Bucks were even going to be able to field the team, so I made the decision pretty early to go to the Wolfpack, and had a really good time there, and played against the Bucks that year and destroyed them. I had like 150 yards receiving and like three touchdowns and a pick. So that was fun. So I'll look forward to that. Like the thing is like I have a lot of friends on that team, and A lot of kids that I've actually coached here in Sylvan Lake at the high school that are still there, and so that'll be weird, but I'm really looking
No,
forward to it. It'll be fun.
yeah, no bad blood there.
None, no. I love the Bucks, man. I love the Bucks. I love Paul. I love the job that he's doing. It's not anybody's fault. It's just like it's
This is a
hard to.
situation.
Yeah, and it's hard to get coaches to commit to coaching a men's league season throughout the entire summer for no money.
Oh, yeah, of
So
course.
we have to figure out how to do that. There's got to be someone out there. So hopefully we'll be able to do that for next year.
Hopefully. So, safe to say, well, you bleed red for Bucks. And also, I'll say you bleed like AFL.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but what position did you have on the board?
Yeah, so I was vice president, and then I got moved into the president role in 2019 when Glenn Dembicki had to decided to step down because of a conflict of interest that he was having with the Jets. So because the Jets that year were getting essentially kicked out of the league
Yeah, I remember that.
because of some cheating that was discovered. Glenn decided that the right thing to do would be to step down so that there was no conflict of interest. I became the president, and then did that for I want to say like a year. I was the president through COVID, so like I had to make that call eventually with the board to like not be able to do the season because we couldn't book any fields and we couldn't book any refs, and so that was shitty. So I think probably in total I was like a year and a half as president.
Okay, so short term, but what is, I'll say the proudest moment, well, not moment, but the proudest thing you could do as president and vice president, and something that you wish you could have done.
Well, that's a good question. I think there wasn't, because the COVID season happened, there wasn't a ton of stuff that I was able to do. You have to understand too, like the way that the board works is the president actually has no power.
Okay.
So the president doesn't actually get a vote in anything, which is ludicrous, to be honest with you. And I actually changed that. I was able to change it and give votes to the board members. Now, the board members consist of the president, the vice president, the secretary, and the treasurer.
Yep.
And then the executive consists of, and I might be mixing these up actually, but the executive consists of like the teams essentially, and the teams all get one vote. But as soon as I was no longer president, they reversed that. And so now the only people who get votes on the league are the teams. So the president doesn't get a vote, the vice president doesn't get a vote, the secretary does. So it's just the teams voting, which inevitably leads to teams voting purely for their own self-interests.
Yeah.
And I tried to tell them this. So like when I was president, Mike, and I've spoken about this on my podcast, I wasn't just like I'm president in name. I was like, I'm president because I want to make this league better. What can we do to enhance our league? And the first thing that we should do is we should give votes to the people that are elected to be the leaders of the organization. Like in what world do those people not get a say in anything? Like nothing. There's nothing I as president could do except call meetings, provide stuff, and then have people either vote for or vote against it. And now, because I'm a bit of a prickly person and I didn't necessarily get along with the law, and I'm very opinionated, as anyone that listens to my podcast knows, I'm very opinionated, and I'm not shy to share my opinions because I believe in saying what you think and meaning what you say. And being genuine is a big point of interest for me as a human being. And I'm not shy about it, but that rubs people the wrong way. And so people would shit on basically every idea I have. And I'll give you a couple examples. One was obviously getting the presidents to be able to have a vote, which I think is fair. If you're going to be an unpaid president and vice president and secretary and treasurer of the league, you should at least get a fucking say in...
Yeah, because what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? You should at least get a say in the decisions that are being made by the league, instead of the teams just voting for their own self-interest. So that should change. That was something that I did change, and then they changed back. I was really honing in hard on getting league sponsorships. So getting like league-wide hotel sponsorships, and I was actually in contact with Best Western, who was willing to do a $5,000 sponsorship. If essentially if the team stayed at all the Best Westerns. Now that was hit with some pushback for various reasons. Like some teams said, "Oh, we have our own team hotel sponsorship," which honestly is bullshit because
Yeah.
I've been to all these cities and we pick our own hotel. Like I've never had a team be like, "You need to stay in the frickin' travel lodge here because that's our sponsor." So that was a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
No, it's not. It's just they were just making excuses to not do what I wanted to do. It was like I would so here I am as a president with no vote, but I was the only one actually putting ideas forward to
Yeah.
like vote on. But I didn't even get a vote, and everything got turned down because nobody wanted to either agree with me out of ego, or nobody wanted to actually change the league, or nobody wanted to have me get credit for the change of the league. The other one I had, I literally locked down $1,000 sponsorship from Supplement King to buy us the league a brand new trophy. And like everybody, like that should be like a unanimous, like, yeah, why wouldn't we do that?
Yeah.
Like, that's $1,000 trophy we could get to the league. The league needs a new trophy. Our trophy sucks. We should update our trophy and get a new one, which, by the way, they're now talking about. They talked about it at the last AGM because, of course, as long as it's not my idea, they're going to put that forward. So we'll probably get a new trophy soon. I've been trying to do that for years. I've been vocal about that. I had it done. And I wanted to also – I had kind of an out-of-the-box idea, which I thought was really good and I wanted to at least be able to talk about it more. But the second I brought it up, it got completely shut down. The idea, to be short here, was I wanted every player in the league to pay their team fees to the league. And so my thought process was this. So many teams complain that guys don't pay fees, right?
Oh yeah.
So my thought, and we get these situations which is those gray areas of guys that don't pay fees or teams that pay their fees for their guys that they fly in. Yep. And there's all this kind of, we don't have really a ability to track that everybody's really following the rules. And if we want to be a legitimate league with rules and bylaws, we have to make sure we enforce those bylaws and make sure they're followed. So my idea was this. Every player and I had a Sports Engine is the website that I had that was going to be the website for our league, but on that website was going to have the ability for players to go on there, pay with their credit card, pay with their debit card, pay their team fees, their $350, their $400 team fees that they'd normally pay to their team, pay it to the league through that via credit card, however you want to do it. This would do a couple things. One, it would make sure that every single player that is eligible to play has paid their fees. Because if you're not on the portal, if you're not on the list, if you haven't paid, we see that you're not eligible to play in the games. You haven't paid your fees. I also had the idea, obviously, of you could do it, $100 at a time, with the full payment having to be due before the playoffs. So in order to be eligible for the playoffs, you'd have to have your full $400 paid to the league for your team fees. So this allows us to keep track of all the players in the league, their names, addresses, all that stuff. So we know that, everything's legit. It makes sure that every single player is paying their fees. So there's no like, Anton, I'll pay my fees, in July when I get a chance. And then of course they don't. Right? Or they quit or whatever, right? It's like, no, if you don't pay your fees to the league, you don't play. Very fucking simple. Or make a payment plan and make sure you're paid for the playoffs. So I was like, this should be a great idea. Everybody pays. And then what we were going to do is simply redistribute those fees back to the teams. So if you had 50 guys from your team pay fees, the league would then send you those fees. So the teams would actually get more money because everybody would have to pay. There would be and the teams would have no stress about it. They wouldn't have to chase guys. They wouldn't have to track down guys. They wouldn't have to do anything. Every person goes up, payment plan or pay in full on the website. Boom, you're done. And you do that or you can't play. We have all the information for everyone. We have their address. We have their ID. We know these people are legit. Football Alberta insurance. It's easy. It's all right there. It was a no-brainer to me. And of course, I just basically got laughed at. I said, okay, well, keep chasing those fees. I don't. Yeah. It just seems like a ridiculous thing to do. And I mean, even we see it today where guys can't get releases from teams because they haven't paid their fees. Yep. Right. So I don't know. It's stuff like that I really tried hard. And long story short, there was a group of people that didn't like me. Well, the Jets at the time. So The Jets actually thought it was my fault that they got kicked out of the league, not understanding that I was the only person on the entire board and executive that fought for the Jets. The only reason the Jets are still in the league today is because of me. I forced the executive and the board members to allow Cold Lake to represent their bid to come back in the league, because what happened was they got kicked out of the league in 2019, and then they had to come represent at the next AGM. But Damon Schaub showed up with one piece of paper and nothing, and it was the worst presentation anybody's ever seen. So the league said, "No, you're done. You're never coming back in the league." I then said, "Guys, like, look. Here's all the wonderful things about Cold Lake. Great community, great sponsorship, great players, lots of talent, got coaches. They run their game day operations perfect. We can't just kick these guys out of the league because Damon came with a bad proposal. Like, we have to think deeper. We have to think, what can Cold Lake bring to us? We can't just judge it off this one thing." Everyone's like, no, they're done. We don't want these guys, blah, blah, blah. And I fought and I fought and I fought and I fought. And finally, they said, "Okay, we'll give them another chance to propose." So that I told Damon, I said, "Motherfucker, your presentation needs to be on point. Here's what you need. Boom, 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 boom. I want to see a list of players that have paid fees. Boom, 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 boom. This is what you need to present to the league." He went, he did that. They got voted back in. The rest is history. The only reason the Cold Lake Jets still exist is because I had the kahunas to sit in front of these people and say, "You guys are idiots if we kick these guys out of the league." But because Cold Lake wasn't aware of that behind the scenes stuff, they always had kind of put it on me that I was the reason they got booted in 2019. So what happened was, when we went to the presidential election in 2021, the vote that Vince Roth decided to run against me, and Vince and I have had a tumultuous relationship. We don't like each other. There's no secret about that. We just don't, okay? I'm not going to get into details on that. He only came after the presidency because he wanted me out. There was a couple teams that didn't like me because I was outspoken and told my opinions and wanted to change things, and people were stuck to the old guard. But we get to this vote, and it gets tied for the president 3-3, okay? So with the first vote, tied 3-3.
Yep.
So, and we go to another, so then we go to a second vote, comes back 3-3. Now, the way the bylaws are written is that if it ties twice, the tie-breaking vote to decide who's the president of the league, and stay with me here, guys, because this gets crazy. The tie-breaking vote comes down to the current vice president.
Oh my God.
Now what happened? No, it gets even crazier, because this is what happened. So Vince tried so hard to get me out, and I don't know who voted for who. Those are still secret. I don't know the 3 that voted for me, and I don't know the 3 that voted for him, as far as the 6 teams that voted. But both times it came back a tie. And so the tiebreaker went to the president. Now, we didn't have a vice president when we started this AGM. Oh. But what we did was we did the vice presidential election first before the president election. So the vice presidential election was between Mike Becker and Daniel Woolishin, okay, the Jets guy. Okay, now keep in mind, the Jets had just been kicked out of the league for cheating, and their guy decided to run for vice president of the league against Mike Becker. Mike Becker would have been a great choice. So anyways, Mike loses this vote to Daniel. This, first of all, was insane to me, because yes, I fought for Cold Lake to be back, but we just elected a Jet to be the vice president of the league, the team that outwardly and openly and admittedly was paying guys to come play for them and cheat. Yep. So now we have a Jets vice president. Well, when it came to, who just got elected like 5 minutes before he had to now break the tie between me and Vince. Now keep in mind, at this point, the Jets still thought it was my fault that they got kicked out of the league.
Ugh.
So who do you think the Jets guy voted for in the tie-breaking, right? So, of course, he doesn't vote for me.
Yeah.
And which ended up being the best thing to ever happen to me, because honestly, again, Vince has no power. He can't do anything. He doesn't have a vote. It ended up being really good for me. Way less stress for me, right? At the time, I was pretty upset, because this was just like, I'm out here working my ass off trying to make this league better, coming up with these ideas, even if they're outside the box, like at least come up with something. Yeah. Since then, and I've been critical of Vince and the board, because he's been president now for like 3 years. And nothing has changed in the AFL. We don't have a new trophy. We don't have any new systems of doing things. Our bylaws, we've had this smoke issue and stuff. We didn't know what to do with that. They did a good thing with getting that buffer week in this year. But I don't see people that are like outwardly trying to do new and creative things to make the league better. What I see is people like myself and Omari and Kurt and yourself now as well included are doing the hard work and doing the weight and trying to talk about this amazing league that we have in the AFL. So I want to see them do more. I mean, Vince is what Vince is, but I know he's going through some personal stuff as well. But he's got to step up. The board's got to step up. We got to see some new stuff in the Alberta Football League. We got to get creative. This league has never had the opportunity to be as good as it does right now.
Yeah, like 100%. Like for your podcast, for example, it gets the word out. Like you've gotten views from, I think, all over the world, like here and
Literally.
there.
No, literally all over the world. When we look at our analytics, like we're talking Slovenia, Austria, China. Like we get people from all over the place listening. And of course, we've got players in the AFL that are playing overseas and still listening to the podcast, right? That has been such a blessing, dude. Like Omari and I really didn't know what that was going to be. And it's just turned out to be like a million times better than we ever could have thought. And it's just so fun doing it. It's just been fantastic.
Yeah, and it's great for the league too because you get more eyeballs on it, sponsors, and eventually you don't have to pay for like a new trophy, for example.
Yeah.
Or you'll get like better. I don't know, just make the league way better.
Yeah.
Like, jeez. Anyways, speaking of your podcast, with you and Amari starting that up, how has that been? Like, how did that come to be? I'll say.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, so it came to be because actually Kurt Howland, he started a podcast, I want to say in like 2015 or 2016. It could have even been before that. This is before like podcast, like there was no Riverside or Alitu or any of these podcast kind of platforms back then. He just kind of did it. And I remember, really enjoying listening to it. Like he would talk about preview the games and talk about players of the week. And I was like, this is cool, right? And that was kind of in the back of my head. I think he only did it for 1 year or whatever, for whatever reasons, but you'd have to ask him that. But he did a really good job of that, and I enjoyed it. So it wasn't my idea by any means. He kind of started that, and he's continued to do great work with the league, obviously, and with the Gators. But when I went to the Wolf back in 2021, Omari and I were teammates, and we were kind of just joking. Like I was doing a different, like a personal journey podcast where I was kind of talking about men's mental health and stuff like that back in the COVID days, and just kind of more using it as like a video diary for myself, just kind of talking through different things that were frustrating me and stuff like that. And then I was like to Omari when we played together in 2021, I was like, we should do a podcast. Like Omari and I just connected, and he's I trust him and I admire his knowledge of the game and his passion for the game. We're very similar in that way. We just connected that way, and we kind of joked about it. And then, I think it's 2023. I just kind of messaged him. I'm like, look, I want to do this. Like, do you want to still do this? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And it was February of 2023, so 2 years ago, and we did our first podcast, and then we did season previews, and all of a sudden it was just like we were getting all these downloads and all these comments, and people were really appreciating it and enjoying it, and people telling me like, I'm listening to it in my car, I'm listening to it at work, it's in my headphones when I'm at my job or whatever. And I mean, I think that's a pretty cool thing that we can provide entertainment for people. And all we're doing is just like talking about stuff that we love to talk about. And I get to talk a little bit of shit and be my true real self, which I enjoy. And it's been an absolute blast. And, we went into the high school and we started doing high school stuff and interviewing high school coaches and doing, our biggest episode we've ever had was actually the 2023 provincial championship game between Ernest Manning and Raymond in the highest tier. And we had both their sets of coaches on, and that's been our biggest episode by far. And I mean, it makes sense, right? Because our AFL audience is 400 or 500 players or whatever, and then people that have played however many are in the league. And but the high school, now we're getting moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas and friends
Yep.
and all of high school interested in what these coaches from Ernest Manning and Raymond were saying. So unfortunately, we didn't get as much into the high school this year. My wife was pregnant and her water broke early, and there was some stuff that happened. So we'll get back to that next year. But yeah, man, it's been a really awesome journey. I've really loved it. And it's great working with Omari. He's so smart in the stuff that he does, and the way that he can clip things. Like I'm not technologically literate. I'm not that great at that kind of stuff. It's not my thing. I can plug my mic into my computer here and set the webcam up, but Omari kind of does all that, the kind of behind the scenes stuff, and he's been a great partner.
Yeah, he's great to work with. That's why I have him on for my first episode.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I know Omari. I know he's great. He has the podcast. Perfect.
Let me ask you, what was your motivation for doing your thing? And like, what exactly is, like, I've kind of seen some of your stuff, but you're all over the place a little bit. It's not just AFL. Hey, you're kind of like, what's your kind of thing going on with it?
So right now it's always guys who's played in the AFL. So I've gotten retired guys,
right.
Guys who are still playing. It's more of the individual, because like there's amazing players in this league. I just want to get their story out.
Mm-hmm.
And also at the time, like you guys weren't putting anything out, and I was like, okay, what's going on with this? It's like, okay, I'm gonna start my own show.
Mm-hmm.
But oddly enough, my memes is kind of what led me towards that path. So I was making those memes. I'm like, maybe I should start a podcast.
And the memes are great. I do love the memes.
Yeah,
those are great.
It's funny because I'll have it all set, then as soon as I post it, I'm like, oh, come on, approve. People need to see it.
You know what I'll do actually? I'll set you up as an auto approver.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry.
Like this year, of course, I'm still gonna be making the memes. Like I've gotten better at making them.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I'm looking forward to this year. I'm like, come on, I gotta get those memes out.
Yeah, no, the memes are great. It's good to make people laugh. Yeah, so it's really good.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's cool that you're doing that. It's good to it's kind of a nice little yin to our yang, right? We cover more broad spectrum, and you're covering like individual players, which I think is really important, because I think in order to drive interest in the league, like highlighting people is really important.
Yeah, it's like we don't really have stars in this league, so maybe if I could highlight a few guys, like, okay, I know who that is. That's Ben Attic. Like, that's our MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like,
I'd say Ben Attic's a star, though.
Oh yeah, God, such an amazing player. But yeah, just to get to know them on like a personal level, and of course people to see who they are and stuff like that.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah, thanks. So as you were saying before, you're doing vlogs on like men's health, and some of the episodes I've done, I've talked about that with other players. I kind of joke to myself. It's like, okay, I'm bringing guys on to talk about their problems. So I'm gonna kind of do that to you too.
Yeah,
so
sure.
For your career, like, of course we all have setbacks and how we deal with them. Mm-hmm. You don't have to say specifically on what your major setback was, but how did you overcome
it? Honestly, well, specifically the setback was I didn't win a championship. So like I said earlier, started playing football at 8 years old, didn't win a championship until I was 33 at any level. So I've been on some very, very good teams. I have lost multiple provincial championships growing up playing football, high school football, provincial finals, like 6 of them. Lost a national final in junior, lost 3 finals with the Bucks before we won. So, the biggest hurdle for me, or the biggest, obstacle, the biggest kind of, depressing thing about my football career was just never being able to win the last game of the season. And the reason why I was incredibly motivated every year to keep getting better was because I felt like I was good enough to take any team and win a championship. I felt like I could do enough on the field to do that. And I felt like every year that we didn't get there, that I wasn't doing enough, that I needed to figure out a way to do more. I needed to figure out a way to be better. I needed to figure out a way to, make one extra play somewhere where we could get over that hump. And that's obviously, football is not a single person sport, but that's always my mindset when I'm going into training and trying to be the best football player I can, is like believing that I can make that big of a difference in a football game. And all those losses, like I'm an incredibly competitive person. I always have been my entire life. I'm the oldest of 6 boys, so there's nothing to do but compete for things. I've been into sports my entire life. I want to beat my grandma at Monopoly. I say that a lot, but I want to win it. I don't let my wife win. One time she beat me at bowling, and it still irks me. It's like I have a burning desire to win at everything that I do. It's just innately in me, and so losing. When you care so much, right? Like I care a lot. I care a lot about winning, but I care a lot about the guys I go to battle with. I care a lot about the coaches that I'm playing for. I care about my family. I care about the fans in the stands. I want people that I care about to be happy. Okay. And like for me, it's like winning a championship and seeing all the people that I care about, from the players on my team to the coaches to my wife to my family to people's family in the stands. Yep. There was just in my mind nothing that could be better than just having all those people be incredibly happy for something that myself and my teammates accomplished. And then losing all those years, like in championship games, like my entire life, not just with Bucks, it just wears on you, right? It wears on you. It wears on you. It wears on you. It's like, is this actually ever going to happen? Like, am I ever actually going to be able to put a ring on my finger and say, we did it? And how I overcame that was just an insane belief in myself. Okay. Like I just believed that I believe, and this might sound crazy or conceited to some people, but the truth is I believe that I could win a football game by myself. Yep. Like that might be insane to say, but that's what I believed. And I believe that if I worked hard enough, that if I studied my craft hard enough, that if I put in the effort, that if you ask any single person that's ever played for me, one of the things I'm most proud about, and especially in men's league, is in my 15 years with the Bucks, outside of last year, because last year I took some time off. Outside of last year, in my 15 years with the Bucks, as good as I became, I never had to worry about a starting job. I knew I didn't have to show up to practice and I was going to start. I knew that. My entire career, I knew that when I was on the Bucks. I came to every single practice, every single week, on time. In my 15 career year with the Bucks, 14 years, I missed maybe 2 practices, and they were both because of injury. So you're talking about 14 straight years of coming to every single practice, not having to be there, not having to compete for a spot, but because that's just how much I respect the game, and that's how much I wanted to get better at all times. And so I have an insane belief in myself to be successful, and I believe that I could to win games on my own, and I believe that eventually, if I kept working, that it was going to happen. And I think that's what I try to tell my players that I coach is like, if your starting point can be have the greatest belief in yourself that's ever existed by anybody on the history of planet Earth, you're going to find a way to be successful. Oh yeah. I think a lot of the times kids, and it's such a common trait to not believe in yourself, to hit those down points in your life and to feel like you're just not good enough. And of course, it's easier said than done. I'm so blessed and lucky that I have a God-given ability to constantly block out the noise and block out the bad stuff and keep having this undeniable, unbelievable belief in myself to be great at everything that I do. And that's taken me really far in life. And so that's what I kept doing. And you know what? It paid off in 2021. And of course, I didn't win. Of course, I didn't win the championship by myself. Of course not. And I really hope people understand what I mean when I say that. Yeah. Like I'm not in reality thinking that I could show up and win a game, but that's my belief set if I were to work hard enough. And so I had a great team. I had the greatest quarterback I've ever seen in my life in Brandon Lay. Brandon I just want to play with you again so bad, buddy. I
Yeah.
don't know if you're listening.
It's like,
Um,
please come back
just
because I want to see it.
incredible leader,
Yeah.
incredible dude, like just like salt of the earth, genuinely good human being who plays football like a fucking samurai, like just like sees things that you wouldn't believe, throws the ball 60 yards with the flick of the wrist, like made all of us receivers look just so good,
Yeah.
and we just had such a great team that year. And you know, when we won, when I actually ended up getting MVP of that game, I had our only receiving touchdown of the game, and I had a pick in that game as well.
Yeah.
And I was playing on like a 70% knee, like my knee was really fucked up for that game too. But again, that came down to like there was questions for me if I was even going to be able to play in that game. But like on Wednesday
Yeah.
of the week of that game, I could barely walk, and I was like, I'm playing. I'm gonna play. It's gonna be better. And again, that's just a belief in myself, right? That it's gonna work. And yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
get to 100%, but it got good enough where I was awarded MVP of that game. We win the championship, and I was like in a massive daze. Like you have to understand, like 11 years. It was 11 years. It was my 11th year on the Bucks, but it was my, 25th year playing football and never won a championship. So this was like 25 years in the making. All those heartbreaking losses in the forefront of my mind, and just like I was walking, like I was at the end of the field. I had just dropped deep on a cover 3 Hail Mary kind of play on the last play of the game. Everyone was like celebrating in the middle of the field. There's actually video of this. It's wonderful video. I posted it on my TikTok actually, but I kind of come into frame and I'm walking and I'm like, I just remember being in an absolute daze, and I'm walking towards it. I just wanted to find my wife, but there was like all these people around, and
No.
other people were like coming up to me and hugging me, and like Curtis Drager, who was a longtime Buck, came and we had like a 30-second hug that's on video. It's just amazing. Ian Ketch came, gave me a big hug, and it was just surreal. Like I said earlier, I'm looking around and I'm just seeing all these people that I care about deeply, including ex-Buccaneers, guys that played in the original 2002 team, put in a decade of work there. Jamie Blinkhorn was a part of that. Curtis Drager was a part of that. Dave Henderson, a legendary Buck, was a part of that. And just seeing the joy that they had on their faces. And they weren't even a part of the team that year, but they were so integral to the Bucks up until that point. And to see that happiness in people's faces it was just everything I could have imagined and more. And then I saw my wife, and kind of she hugged me, and I broke down and kind of cried like a baby there for a little bit. But that was like 25 years. Yeah, it's 25 years of emotions, right? And like it's even emotional thinking about it right now. But like it's one of those things where like hard work, it pays off. And I'm not saying that everybody's going to win a championship even as hard as you work, but like if you work hard, it's going to pay off somehow. It might not be with a championship. It might not be with any records. It might not be with stats. But if you truly have an undeniable, unbelievable belief in yourself, and you use that as motivation to work hard and become the best you can possibly be at something, it's going to pay off somewhere or another. So, yeah, that's a great question, and that was kind of a long answer, but that would be it.
That was great. And yeah, like your hard work will take you to places that you never thought you'd ever be. Like I kind of had. Like growing up, I had the same feeling, like just no matter what, I'm just gonna achieve my goal. Like I fail, get back up, keep going. It's funny because like some guys hate hearing the negativity. I kind of enjoy it. It gets me more fired up. So like,
Yeah.
it sucks because in games I don't get trash talk too often. I'm like, come on, do it. It gets me fired up. But yeah, it's like the hard work. It may not pay off where you think it will, but eventually it will pay off.
Yeah. You got to trust it. You got to trust it.
Yeah. So whoever's listening, just hard work.
Yeah. And at a minimum, it's going to pay off in the pride for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And like, it's, whatever happens in my football career, like I literally, and I think anyone that's ever played against me or played with me, whether they like me or not, I think they'll tell you that one thing is certain, and is that I play and practice with the absolute best of my abilities at all times, regardless of the score of the game. So it's something I pride myself on, and it really comes down to I respect the game of football, and I'll never cheat it. I'll
No, yeah.
never think I'm not as good as I believe that I've become as a football player. I'll never think I'm better than the game. And as long as I'm playing, I will never stop trying to improve and get better because I don't think there's a ceiling. I think you can
No.
continuously get higher and higher and higher. I don't think anyone has a ceiling. I think we put ceilings on ourselves or other people put ceilings on us. I've found out in my life that there's no such thing as a ceiling. It is what you make of it.
Yeah, just look at the clouds.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. So now we're gonna go up now. I love hearing about funny stories. Um, what is your hilarious story in your football career, or just AFL?
Um, I would, I think, I think a lot of the funny stories probably happened like after Grand Prairie games in Grand Prairie at like the clubs of Grand
Oh yeah,
Prairie, where like if you go to a club in Grand Prairie, I'm pretty sure there's like a 68% chance that you're going to get stabbed.
yeah,
So it's like those that that obviously brings some pretty hilarious moments. There's been some like pretty epic bar fights. There was one guy who I'm not going to drop his name here because that would be inappropriate, but one guy that I was teammates of that literally went to a Grand Prairie bar and just was on the dance floor and just whipped his dick out just on the dance floor, whipped it out, started shaking it around.
jeez,
Got escorted out by the bouncers with his dick just wagging around.
yeah, yeah,
But I would think for me personally, probably my funniest moment was my second year, 2011. We were playing in Grand Prairie in a playoff game, and at this time they were called the Grand Prairie Drillers, and they were
yep,
like the best team in the league. Like they were so good. They had 18 guys, and they were just like demolishing people. Nathan Aldred, freaking legendary quarterback. Simon Fowle, legendary receiver.
yep,
Like they had some fucking dudes, man, that could ball, and we were getting our ass kicked, and there was a young Ty Bissett on the team, and Ty scored a touchdown. I believe it was Ty. Ty, if it wasn't you, I apologize. I'm pretty sure it was Ty. I think it was a young Ty Bissett, and he scored a touchdown. They were up like 50. The game was like 30 seconds left, and he scored a touchdown and started doing this like freaking like just lame dance in the end zone, and I was on the sideline and I was young and I was like 20, I guess I was 22, 23 at the time and
yep.
young and stupid. And, but he was dancing. I was like, you're up 50 points, man. Like, what are you doing? So I just ran full speed from the sidelines. He was still dancing. Like he was going for like a
Yeah.
good 15 seconds and I full speed and just drilled him in the back. Knocked him out, got kicked out of the game, and then
Yep.
as I was getting kicked out of the game, all these Grand Prairie fans were just like, "Fuck you, number 5, fuck you," and just like, and
Jeez.
I walked right through them and just like golf waved at them. I was just
Yep.
like, "Thank you."
Like,
Thank
thank
you. So,
you.
yeah, so not my proudest moment, but I think on field probably the funniest things. I mean,
You had your Jeff Teague moment. Hitting
yeah, well,
PO.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
there's been some funny there's been some funny, obviously years of funny trash talk, and
Oh
like
yeah.
now the only trash talk I get, like literally the only trash talk I get now is, oh, how about the podcast? Go on the podcast, complain on the podcast, and so like. Everybody just admits to me that they listen to the podcast
Oh
because
yeah.
all they do is talk about the podcast and they try to do it in like a negative way. But it's like
Yeah.
if you were literally listening to it pregame, like I know
Yeah.
you were listening to it pregame, so it's kind of funny because I think guys actually do love it. But it's like it's the low hanging fruit, right?
Yeah.
Like
They
like
don't want to admit that they like it.
No, they don't want to admit that they like it. But
Yeah.
it's funny because Airdrie, they did the most talk about my podcast because I talked a lot of shit about Airdrie on my podcast over the
Yep.
years. So they talked a lot of shit about it, and now I'm going to be a member of the team, and that they've been nothing but nice to me. So hopefully
Oh yeah, of course.
they'll like the podcast. So I know even the Edmonton guys that don't ever want to come on the podcast, they listen to the podcast.
Oh
They
yeah,
hate, they
100%.
might hate listen to it, but they listen to it. So yeah, not a ton of super funny moments. I wish I could remember I wish I was mic'd up more often in my career because there's been
Oh,
some
that'd be
funny,
fun.
some funny stuff that's been said along the way.
Yep. I have one question for that. I think it was 2017 or 2018. No, 2017. It was Bucks versus the Pack. Do you remember one of the players being carted off the field in his own vehicle?
2017. I
Yeah.
don't. I don't think I do.
Ah, damn.
Was it you?
Yeah, it was me. So,
Oh.
so before the drive previous, I scored like a 100-yarder. Then I end up returning a kick return. The way I got tackled was like pretty much got kicked in the shin.
Yeah.
So like it really hurt. Then the trainer's like, "Oh, stay down. Like we don't want to like move it. He's like, we don't want to mess it up."
Yeah.
And like my uncles came down. Well, my uncle and aunt came down from Edmonton to watch me play, and they were like, "Oh, hey, we'll get your stuff, your vehicle. We'll just drive you to the hospital." So while we're waiting, I'm like, "Can I just get up?" Like, no, no, you have to stay there. Like, all right. So they lift me up, put me in my car, and I wanted to roll down the window and just start waving. I'm like, okay, I think I had the best exit out of all AFL.
That is definitely. Was that in Calgary?
No, it was in Lacombe.
It was in Lacombe.
Yeah, so we drove all the way to Red Deer to like get X-rays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They had to drag me out of my vehicle, still in my pads,
Oh my
and
God.
I'm just sitting there. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna get up. So I got up. I'm like, all right, I'm fine. I'm gonna leave. Then like I'm getting all these texts, like everyone's worrying. It's like, where are you? I'm like, oh, I'm at KMW just with my family. I'm fine. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I've never
Yeah.
heard that before. I don't actually remember that. That
Uh,
2017 year was a bit of a blur too because 2016 we were unbelievable, and
yeah.
then we lost in the championship, and then everybody left except basically me and I think a couple other guys. But Brandon was gone, and a lot of our key guys were gone that year. So some of those years are kind of like blurs in my memory. We were not
Okay.
very good those years.
So I'll say this: I've had the best exit of any player in this league.
I'll give you that. That
Yeah,
is, yeah,
leaving in his own vehicle on the field.
yeah, yeah. That's actually like that's like I don't even I like if I would almost think that you're lying about that because that's like so unbelievable. But I obviously know I know you're not lying, but that's
Gonna
fucking
say,
crazy.
just ask Brad Rains and Tyler Shaver because I drove them up, so they had to find their own way back.
Oh yeah, was Shaver playing back then? Wow,
Yeah, he
he's
was.
been here for a long time.
Oh yeah, he's been here
Back
for
to
a
being
while.
teammates with him this year, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So with your career winding down, and of course you being a golfer, and of course you being super competitive, have you thought about joining the Alberta Golf Tour?
It's funny that you mentioned that because not only have I thought about it, I already
Yeah.
did it, and I won an
Oh,
event last year.
damn!
Yeah,
Congratulations.
so I play on the Alberta Golf Tour. For those that don't know, anyone can join. They handicap it, and you play in a division of like like 9 to 13 would be one division and stuff like that. So about 4 or 5 handicap difference. But yeah, I played like 6 events last year. It was my first time I tried it out. I
Nice.
played Olds. I played Pine Hills. That's the one I won. That's in Rocky Mountain House. I won that. I won. Well, I tied. So I played at Mickelson, which is a really prestigious course that Phil Mickelson actually designed out in Calgary.
Wow.
Really difficult track. I won that one. Well, I tied for the win, and then I lost in a playoff. So I had some pretty good success. My first time last year playing tournament golf. I'm a very new golfer. Like I started golf basically COVID because we had nothing else to do.
Oh yeah.
I had golfed like 5 times in my life before that. It's expensive and stuff like that. So I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
But in COVID, I had nothing else to do. I had a buddy that really wanted to get into it. So we got into it together and kind of alluding to what I was talking about before. If I decide like I want to do something and I enjoy it, I'm going to get good at it. Like
Oh yeah.
that's just that's my mentality, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get good at it. And golf's an interesting one, right? I love golf so much because it's me against me,
Yep.
right? And like so I joked a little bit, but when saying that I believe that I can win a football game on my own. Well, when it comes to golf, that's the reality.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
can win golf by myself. I don't need anybody else's help. It's fully me. It's very introspective. It reveals you to you. Like golf is never only joy and butterflies.
Yeah.
Golf is a lot of frustration. It's a lot of confusion. It's a lot of mind games. It's a ton of mental stuff. And on top of that, you got to be able to physically execute the shots that you need to do. And there's a million different types of shots that you need to hit throughout a golf course,
Yep.
throughout your golf career. And so, I've just fallen in love with the sport of golf, like absolutely head over heels with it. I've dedicated hundreds and hundreds of hours at this point to getting better. Just completely self-taught. I keep saying I should just get a lesson, but
Nah.
I kind of enjoy teaching myself
Yeah.
and figuring it out for myself. And now I'm to the point, yesterday I went out and shot a 77. Today I went to a really, really tough course in really windy conditions and shot an 84, which is like phenomenal from the course that I was playing, called Wolf Creek out in Ponoka.
Yep.
Really tough course, no miss areas. So I've really enjoyed getting good at that. I've always been able to like hit balls far, like baseballs, and
Oh, yeah.
throw far. So I have a unique body, I guess. I'm only 5'11", but I produce 170 mile an hour ball speeds with my driver and 160 mile an hour ball speeds with my mini driver, which is
Jeez.
nuts. Like we're
Yeah.
talking, that's what the pros do, right? So obviously I'm not anywhere near a pro, but I've got some base skill sets that I've been able to really capitalize on, and I'm constantly improving, man. I love it. Just like I said with football, like there's no ceiling. Like I fully believe that I am going to make it to the senior PGA Tour when I'm 50.
Yeah.
Like
You never know.
people think I'm joking when I say that, but like I'm dead fucking serious. Like my goal is to be good enough to play on the senior PGA Tour when I'm 50, and I wouldn't bet against me. I believe in believing things because I believe that when you believe them, you work hard for them, and they'll come true. So
Yeah.
that's my goal.
Yeah. Maybe one day we can actually bet on you on the senior tour.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hell
Because
yeah.
just listen to the last episode of your podcast. You're talking about the bets and stuff like that. Like, oh, that'd be
Yeah.
perfect to see Teej right there.
That's another thing that I've gotten good at is my golf betting. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I've made some made some decent money. Look, like I said on my podcast, like golf betting's the shit, man. Like
Yep.
you get like you have to understand like in golf betting, like every player that's playing these PGA tournaments is in the top 0.5% of the world of golfers,
Yep.
meaning they're all really, really, really good, which means any of these guys can get hot on any weekend and win. So you get dudes that, like I got a dude this week, Pavone. Okay, so if anyone's watching the tournament this week, RBC Heritage signature event, all the top players in the world are going to be there. Matthew Pavone has won a PGA Tour tournament. This guy's a good golfer. He is plus 100,000 to win this tournament.
Jesus.
Plus 100,000. If you put $5 on him, I'm telling you
Yep.
guys, go to Bet365 right now. And he doesn't have good odds to win, but this guy has won before.
Yeah.
Put $5 on him, and you win $5,000 if he wins this golf tournament, which he
Yeah.
has done before against this very similar type of field. So what makes golf so great is that anybody can win on any day, and you get ridiculous odds. Like, how do you not throw if you guys aren't out here throwing $5 on Matthew Pavone this weekend, and he wins, you just lost $5,000. So
Yeah.
go on Bet365. Put $5 on Matthew Pavone plus 100,000. Like if he doesn't win, you lose $5. If he does win, you win 5,000. Now I put
Yeah.
$10 on him, and I put $10 on him to come top 5. So
Ooh.
now if he wins, I'm cashing out about 15K.
Yeah. You're still getting some.
Yeah,
I remember.
on a $15 bet.
Yeah.
So
So $5, 15, not 10, not 10 cents like Amari was saying.
no,
before.
not the 10 cents. That's silly. That's ridiculous. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, man.
Because
It's unbelievable.
like I was kind of doing the same thing with him. Like, well, not with him, but like I put like $10 in and I bet, but not like 10 cents, like kind of like $2. I'll do
Yeah.
like a parlay. I think I can win. Then
Yeah.
the more money I get, the more I'll bet.
Yeah.
But of course,
Yeah.
I'm still going to do more of a risk than 10 cents.
Well, that's exactly it. And like what I've ended up doing is like because you get such ridiculous odds. So like I'm just looking at my Bet365 right now. Like for example, you can, I don't know if the audience can see here, but Nick Taylor, Canadian, right? Nick Taylor's won 4 times on the PGA Tour. I put $5 on him. It's $880 return on $5. Like, you can't get that anywhere else. Jacob Bridgman put $3 on him, $400 is the return. Mackenzie Hughes, $5 is $700. Taylor Pendrith, $10 is $900. You know, I like to. Oh, by the way, my strategy: always bet the Canadians.
Oh yeah,
That's my main. That's my main strategy. But like, golf betting is insane, and so I've got money on 33 different golfers this week. 33 different golfers, right? There's 50 in the tournament. I've got money on 33 of them, with the minimum paying $430. My total investment this week is 170, and that all came from my win last week, when I bet $20 on Rory McIlroy to win the Masters. So I might turn my 20 that I won on Rory McIlroy into 15,000 on Matthew Pavone, or into 400 or 600 or 800. I've got 33 out of the 60 golfers. Right. So there's just such good odds on it, and I really enjoy it. And I'm up about $4,000 this year on golf betting, so it's been really good.
Jeez. Well, now I know what I'm doing.
Yep. Just bet $2 or $3 on the entire bottom half of the field. Right? You're getting plus 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 100,000. Put $2, deposit 100, put $2 on all the bottom half guys, put $10 on like the mid guys, and just kind of try to make it so you win $400 or $500 minimum. And as long as Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy don't win, like, you've got a good chance of winning. So
so there you go, people. Free advice, free golf betting advice,
free golf betting advice. Yeah, and Bet365 is great because they do cash outs. So I won money on that last week too, because I had Justin Rose to win, and when he made it to a playoff with Rory McIlroy, they offered me a cash out of $120, and I took that cash out because I figured Rory would win the playoff, and then he did. So that's a really nice little perk too. So I got a free $120 there.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. All right, so enough about being degenerates and betting on golfing and gambling. Kids, your daughter. So, of course, she's super young. You don't have to worry about sports or any hobbies at the moment. But are you going to push her into sports, or just kind of let her do her thing?
No, I'm going to push her into sports for sure. Okay. Yeah. No, yeah, there's no, like, obviously if she fully rejects it, I'm not going to like be that. But like, I'm going to do the best that I absolutely can to make her love sports. I mean, I think, you know, like I said, for me, I fell in love with football because I watched my uncle play it.
Yeah.
Right. I fell in love with soccer because I watched my dad play it. So I'm going to take her golfing as soon as I can. I'm going to get a little, there's this thing called the baby caddy, and you can attach it to a stroller, and then you put your clubs in it. So I can take her and my clubs to the golf course.
Oh, perfect.
And just walk the golf course with her. I'm going to buy her golf clubs as soon as I can, and just kind of get her hopefully naturally into it. She watches me do it, and hopefully will want to do that as well. And I'm going to take her with me, and hopefully she kind of falls in love with it. Like, golf is a game that like it's so great, like that it's so accessible for women and children, and maybe not price wise as much, but like everybody can do it, right? Like, women have the tees
and the clubs though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And kids are cheap and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's just a great time. So I'm excited for that. I'd love to get her into basketball because I coach basketball. And so she'll be exposed to a lot of that stuff. She seems like she's definitely got my genes as far as athleticism. My wife's pretty fast. She's not an athlete by any means. She did score 8 goals in house league soccer when she was a kid. Yep. But she played in the band and stuff like that. It's kind of a band geek, but and now is a teacher. But opposites do really attract. But she seems very athletic. Like, she's got great vision. So I have. My wife doesn't have. She needs glasses. But I have better than 20/20 vision, and I think my baby has that as well, which is huge for sports, right? Obviously, for sports to have really good vision, and so. She's like seeing me from a long way away. She's very agile and moving her limbs and kicking around everywhere really quickly. And so I hope she's got those genes for me, but I'm not going to like force her if she's like, I don't want to, but I'm hoping to kind of maybe indoctrinate her into sports by just
Yeah,
like having her come with me to do those things, and then be like, hey, these are activities I can do with daddy, and then maybe I want to try these activities.
yeah,
So I do hope she does, because I want to do those things with her, right? So
yeah. And it's definitely a fun bonding moment. Like with my
yeah,
kids, I plan on doing the same.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. How
because
old are your kids?
uh, well, my girlfriend has a toddler who just turned 3. He's constantly throwing stuff. So I'm like, okay, either we're playing baseball or you're gonna be a football player. Either way, you're gonna
Yeah,
be throwing something.
yeah,
Yeah. So whenever we have kids, like I don't want to do that as well. But of
yeah,
course, I'm not gonna force them to do anything they don't want to.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like, okay, if you're a boy, I might force you into football a little bit.
I'm gonna highly encourage you to do these
Yeah.
things. Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
okay, we're gonna watch film together, and you're gonna know how to read coverages and stuff by the age of 5.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, so with I'll say with the episode winding down, um, is there anyone you want to thank on your road to, well, your career, who's helped you along the way?
Um. Well, first of all, it's um, definitely my wife. Like it. I think most men know in this league the commitment that it takes. Like especially going on my 15th season, sacrificing the summers, and she's always been like obviously just an incredible support of my dreams, of my goals, of the things that I want to do, the things that make me happy. So I definitely could not do all this stuff without her support and her, cheering me on, and her enthusiasm, and really being like a fan of mine, coming to my games, and like she's not like, she grew up watching hockey with her dad and stuff like that, but like she's not like a huge sportsman by any means, but she's a fan of me,
Yeah.
and what I do and my happiness. So definitely my wife first and foremost has just been the greatest support in my entire sports career. Like we've been together since I was 19 playing junior football, right? So
Wow.
she's been a part of it, for the majority of my football career, and
Yeah.
she's seen the ups and the downs. She's seen, a couple of injuries that I've had that have been pretty scary too, and so definitely her. And I think on top of that, it's, specifically with the Bucks, it's like, first of all, Dave Haney, who started the Bucks. I mean, we wouldn't have any of this without him. Ken Polzer, Kyle Liptek, Corey Pusey, guys who took the team over and kept it going. Guys I've played with throughout the years. I've mentioned a few of them already today, that have kind of guided me along the way, through my younger years of being a little bit more prickly and a little bit more fiery and maybe a little bit less respectful,
Yeah.
as a young kid in the way that I went about my business. Um, and honestly, just like the entire AFL as a whole, like everybody that's ever reached out to me and talked about the podcast, or anyone that's said they enjoyed listening to the podcast, has been really inspirational for me to keep going and doing this stuff and keep playing. But really, it's come down to my wife and all the teammates that I've had on the Bucks for so many years, who have supported me and had my back, and allowed me to grow and be myself and grow into the man that I am today.
Awesome. Yeah, it's definitely great to give thanks to the loved ones that supported your hobby and career and future endeavors. And yeah, so that's the end of the show. I do have one question, of course. I wore green today because the Irish, and you're going to the Irish.
Yeah.
Do you have a message for your future teammates going into the season?
Let's fucking get it.
Yeah, hopefully you can bring a championship to Airdrie.
Yep, that's it. That's exactly it, man. Like, I'm so stoked to join this team. I'm so stoked to get to go to battle with these guys. Like, I haven't had this level of like excitement for a season in a long time, really since 2021. We have a tough road ahead of us. The Gators are the best team in the country right now, right?
Yeah,
And they're right beside us, and they're only getting better.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
I like being where we're at. I like being the underdogs. I like having the guys that we have. I like having the coaches we have. I'm like so excited about the coaches that we have. I'm so excited to play for Anton and to play under his leadership and what they've got going on there. And the thought of bringing the championship to Airdrie was just so appealing. It was just where I wanted to be. You know, I'm
Yeah.
not a ring chaser. I didn't want to just go to Calgary and kick everyone's ass and which I think we would have done if I would have went there.
Oh yeah.
And they still might do, but I think even more so if I was over there. But this was just such a cool situation to go to. They got a brand new field, brand new turf, maybe some new jerseys coming up. So
Yeah.
I'm
Fingers
going to be
crossed.
wearing a new number this year.
What?
Yeah, they couldn't get me 5. Unfortunately, there's some sizing issues with that. The current number 5 is was willing to give me the number, but
Yeah.
he's about 50 pounds heavier than me, so the jersey I would have been swimming a bit. So
Yeah.
we're gonna go with number 15 this year. I
I
actually
like
wore
it.
15. Yeah, I wore 15 when I was in high school for playing for Sands there because they had no number 5 jersey. They just didn't order one, so I wore 15. So it's still got a 5 in it, bringing
There
me
you go.
back to my high school days. So yeah, let's go get it, guys. Let's go shock the world. I think that's exactly what we're gonna do.
Perfect. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
And I know you won't say it now because you already said before, but Amari, come on, Airdrie. I think it might be a perfect fit.
Hey, I'm working on them. I agree with you. I think it's a
Yep.
perfect fit. There's kind of a reconciliation of the 2022 Wolfpack group that we had that was pretty good.
Yeah, there you go.
We fell a little short, so yeah, I hope Amari makes the right decision.
Yeah, I think he will.
All
Uh,
right, you know something I don't know.
no, I haven't talked to Amari in a while. Maybe I can get some information out of him.
Yeah, you do that. He's pretty tight-lipped. He's pretty tight-lipped. So I don't even know, and I'm his podcast partner. So
Yeah, I think I'll talk to him and try and get something set up for his announcement.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. I
All right,
like it.
Teej, thank you
Okay,
for
brother.
being on the show.
You bet,
And
buddy.
where can we find you on the whole
Yeah, man. You can follow.
world?
So the podcast is Alberta Football Uncensored on Instagram. It's just AFU Uncensored. Personal Instagram is Teej Teej and then 55s Teej 55555. And outside of that, yeah, that's pretty much it. You'll find me on the fields of Airdrie and a couple other places this year as well.
Awesome. Can't wait to see you in what's it called? Is it green and black or green and white?
We'll see.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
not
see.
allowed to spill the secrets.
Ooh. We'll see you in the new digs.
Yeah, we'll see in the exactly.
Awesome.
All right,
All
man.
right. Thanks.
Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.